dual set.
Heart to heart.
Noonas podcast.
Sabida.
Hello, we are back with the Noonas podcast. Yes, we are back. And last show of the year, last show of 2020, which happy and sad because, 2020 can really go, on yo.
Also like it's a good thing that we've reached the 10th episode of the Noonas podcast. And good thing that we're making things even for the last show of this year in the 10th episode.
Wasn't a plan that we were going to get to the 10th episode, but hey, we got to the 10th episode. Which, hey, that's a high. Yay. But yeah, I mean, we're 10 episodes in, and I think we've kind of, established our footing a little bit in terms of what we're doing and how we are going about doing things. I hope so too. I mean, I haven't heard any differently. So, I mean, you're really welcome to criticize us, guys. I mean, we're just two Noonas talking about K-pop.
Yeah, just a casual discussion of all things K-pop, so to say.
Pretty much. I mean, we're nowhere near professional level discussion at this rate, in any term of the word. Although,
also like scrambling like with our like different pages, like trying to organize them, like what we can put in our posts and all that. So it's been pretty hectic on our part, and we just like our minds were just like really, really super busy these days, and just like trying to fit in as much as keeping everyone posted and like from all like different pages from social media. It's just,
we'll get better with it. I mean, if you guys want to, again, you can always check out our Twitter and our Instagram. We have a show Twitter and a show Instagram. Noonas_podcast. We have, we actually just put up some introductions to ourselves on those today, the day we're recording this, which is Thursday. So you can check it out, kind of get an idea of who we are, the groups we like. I've realized I am a definite 4th gen biaser. This is bad. But I mean, I still like a lot of the groups in 3rd gen, and I'm starting to, dabble into 2nd gen groups, but
yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's all that matters is we explore and just appreciate like how K-pop came about, and
appreciate the growth it's seen. And I mean, let's talk about 2020 in terms of growth. Like, it's been a year for K-pop. I mean, there's been a lot of music. You thought the last couple months was crazy with us reviewing album after album after album. I mean, this whole year has just been a slew of really, really good music coming out of Korea.
Yeah, and especially when like during this pandemic, it was with everyone like either not getting or not working because like people like things are getting shut down. But I'm like really amazed at how like K-pop is able to like produce a bunch of like creative and of like numerous amounts of like albums this year. And I think that like they took this to an advantage and like provide everyone like who are big fans of them just like a lot of like content and like enjoyment out of this distressing times.
Yeah, it's impressive in how much they've been able to adapt. Obviously, with the pandemic, it's cut back on concerts, it's cut back on the music shows and having live audiences. It's there's definite drawbacks to not be able to perform live in front of people. But I think they found a really good balance with, keeping people alive on social media and stuff. I mean, there's been plenty of amazing content online through whether it's YouTube, whether it's VLive, through the online concerts that you could buy tickets for. Like, they've been really good about like keeping us connected. And I think that's been one of the bright spots of 2020, especially as I've fallen further and further into the K-pop hole here, that it's also like the community around K-pop too is really, really solid. I mean, I will say this, like, I don't think I would have survived 2020 without my friends who are also involved in K-pop. I mean, they've been such a strength this year. So I really shout out to my fellow Noona friends. They know who they are, but it's been a really amazing year with them. And with that, I guess, should we get into trying to figure out our top 10 K-pop songs of 2020?
Top 10, which is kind of a lie because let me just spoil it to you now. It's more than just like one single thing for like each like category. So yeah, for each like top number, I'm gonna have like a bit of like 2 songs like from the same album. Just letting you know.
Okay, I mean,
so I cheated big time.
I try not to cheat because I was talking to Cedric about this, my boyfriend Cedric, and he's like, you can always do ties. I'm like, no, I don't want to break the integrity of it and do ties. So I actually really comparatively like looked down and like looked at, okay, which songs did I go back and listen to a lot? And then I played them against one another. I'm like, which one do I like better than the other? And I think I've settled on it. I mean, we'll say this. It's settled on today, December 17th, the day we're recording this, 2020. But it could change, honestly. I mean, that's kind of the joy about the, like, your taste change and everything's subjective. So,
yeah.
It seriously was really, really, it was a struggle to get through. Also, I think there might be some surprises on my list that people might be very, very surprised about on how I ranked things. So, but with that being said, should we get started?
Yeah, let's do this.
Let's. Shall we go off with number 10?
All right. Jenny, you go first. I can't wait to see like what you have in store.
Okay, so my top 10 starts with number 10 with a solo. It's not really debut because she's had some stuff before, but this was a really, really big solo for her. Hwasa's Maria, which came out back in God, what was that? May or June? It was earlier this year.
I know it's like a really like a big summer song that you can like listen to.
Yeah, I mean, it's sultry and seductive, and it's really personal to her too. I think the way she plays with the lyrics and stuff in it, because there's a lot of like temptation stuff, and she's kind of been persecuted throughout K-pop because of her looks and stuff. Because she's not a typical like Korean beauty, I guess, quote unquote. She's got
like
very
that skinny, slender looking figure, and then not less like fair skin, I guess. Than like a lot of like girls have. And
the double eyelids that most South Koreans do surgery. That apparently is like one of the top like classic surgeries in Korea is to do the double eyelids. They like the double eyelids that Westerners have. So I'm very partial to the monolid. I think the monolid's beautiful. But yeah, Hwasa's always been kind of an icon of just like this different kind of beauty in Korea, and I do love her beauty. I mean, there's a reason why I think Mamamoo is one of my favorite female acts in K-pop. Just the way they produce their music, just the way they are themselves. They're very, very true to themselves. They aren't like, like these other girl groups like, Twice or Blackpink or any other, major girl group. They're very, very different. And you kind of see them reflected in Hwasa's Maria, which unfortunately didn't get a lot of promotion throughout Korea because Hwasa got injured. Actually, it was a viral video where she slipped a disc as she was practicing because she's on a variety show called I Live Alone, and she was. And at that point, it was caught on camera. She slipped a disc, and so they had basically cut all the promotions from Maria because she couldn't dance. And but it's a really beautiful song, just the way it's really put together very well between the beat drops. It is very, very seductive and sultry. And the music video itself is gorgeous. Like you can see like how she's playing with all this like strife she's had in her life. So I think we might have to make a post and like put all the music videos out of the songs we're talking about so you guys have an idea of what we're talking about. My number 10 is Maria by Hwasa.
Cool.
Jenny?
Yeah, okay. So for my top 10, starting things out like from one of the groups that like paved the way into me liking K-pop, which is BTS from Map of the Soul 7 with one of their tracks. So what I really love about like this song, it may have been like composed or like performed by the 3 rappers of BTS, so RM, Suga, and J-Hope. But I really enjoy how much it really goes back to like the roots of how BTS started out with, like, because they started as a hip hop based group. And I really enjoy, like, like the three doing like their ciphers, or maybe even like their hip hop solos. It just goes to show how powerful like they can be, and how like it shows like a different side. Like, how like people always think of BTS as like this really poppy boy band. It's not like anyone like anything different, but that's why I recommend people like looking into more of like their hip hop, like heavy like heavier sets of like songs, like this one Cypher, and then the new one with so it's just one of like really powerful songs that they have in there in Map of the Soul. This is one of my like I really enjoy and listen to the most.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I am rap line trash for BTS. Like,
yeah,
I said before, obviously, Hobie is my bias. Suga is my bias wrecker most of the time in the group. And, well, RM tends to come into and bias wreck me on occasion, especially as of late. But yeah, I mean, yeah, August is a great choice.
Yeah.
It's a really powerful song and a very old school vibe, which I've seen them play with BTS, especially with their production.
Yeah, and I do like enjoy, like, you can see how different like some of like each of their style is when it comes to rapping. Like, how like RM has like this really really like smooth flow into like his when he does like his style, and then like with Suga he goes really hard, and like his and it really like it's almost like goes like spiteful, and when it comes to like his own verse, and then when you get to like J-Hope, it sounds more like laid back and really like that kind of like the flow to him. And yeah, like it just sounds laid back, but he can be like as like hard hitting like Suga. It's just like, and they all like mix them pretty well, even though like it's kind of like different from each like their verse, and it still like flows together as one. So yeah. That's my top 10 selection of with BTS rap line.
I mean, hey, rap, like I said, BTS rap line, I think, is one of the most solid rap lines currently in K-pop. Yeah. Like, all three of them are fantastic. So yeah, I guess before we go on, I just want to give a little caveat. So the way I did my top K-pop songs this year, I picked the major like singles that came out of the list. So I didn't pick any B-sides, unfortunately, because if I had to choose B-sides, I'd be here forever, because there were some really good B-sides on like many different albums this year. And I'm just to sake of my sanity, I just like focus on the main singles that came out of every group. And so with that, my number 9 song is actually another big hit artist. Since we're talking about BTS, I am going to go with Tomorrow by Together's Can You See Me, which is from Eternity, which came out, that was back in April. That came out. So it was the previous album before we just had Minisode, episode 1 Blue Hour. But yeah, Can't You See Me was very much it was a turn in Tomorrow by Together's like discography, because we've seen them progress. They started out with their debut, obviously very cute boy group, but then we get into Dream Chapter Magic, and then like that whole album itself is just very interesting how they play with different genres and stuff, and it continues into here where the whole album of Dream Chapter Eternity is it's darker, especially with Can't You See Me. It's a very dark song talking about friends breaking up and stuff, like that whole you growing apart in your friendships because your opinions are differing and becoming different, and just the growth, growing from a teenager into adult, which is a lot of what TXT's music is talking about, is like that growth from teenager to adulthood, but that awkward time where you're like, what am I doing with my life? What's happening? And it's like, being on the other side of it now as an adult, it's kind of fun to see like how this generation behind us is handling it. And so, like I said, Can't You See Me is a really good song. Bring that, and just the whole, it's very sinister. I don't want to say sinister.
it's just like darker and like in the mood, or like in the tone of like if you like compare it like amongst all like how TXT composes like their music, yeah, that one like took a bit of a dark turn.
Yeah, if you look at "Can't You See Me" versus "Blue Hour," which was their last single that came out, totally drastic different songs. Like "Can't You See Me" is dark, "Blue Hour" is really, really light and fun. And so, but I do like them playing with that darker tinge and just with all the breakdown and the production of the song, just the kind of that distortion and stuff, the playing with like that whole your mind like kind of fucking with you. And I really enjoyed it. And the choreography itself was just really spot on, like, talking about lies and stuff. And like, it's just really good. I hope actually, I don't think Minisode was planned, because I feel like based on what we saw at Melon last weekend, they announced, or they put up on the screen after their performance, they said Chaos Chapter. So I'm thinking that's the new era of TXT, kind of like what BTS has done with different eras. I think we finished the Dream Chapter. That's done. We're now into the Chaos Chapter.
Chaos.
And so I think now looking back at Can't You See Me, like, it's a great transition into this whole Chaos Chapter, which I'm looking forward to seeing what TXT does with that in this exploration and seeing how their sound progresses. And so, yeah, that's my number 9, Can't You See Me by Tomorrow by Together.
Okay, it's a really good choice there, Jenny. Okay, so for my number 9, this is where we go into my time selections of top 9. So anyways, yeah, from like my top 9, this would come from, we're going to go back with Mamamoo with their recent album Travel, and my top 2 selections were the first opener, which is of course Travel, and jumping to like a bit of like almost at the end of their album, which is Diamond. The reason why I chose these 2 songs, to me, like they were like 2 of my favorite songs, and like I love them like differently and equally throughout all the albums. So for first with Travel, if you know me, I really love songs that gets me into the mood, like I wanted to like travel. And you can see like some of my selections later in my top 10 has that kind of like that element that makes me want to like like just go out and like just like travel and like visit somewhere. But too bad we're in a pandemic, and there's nothing else we can like do much about it. So Travel is like one of those songs that like really gets me into that mood, and kind of reminds me of like another like classic song by B52 called Rome, because it kind of has like that like atmospheric like key into like the instrumentals. So going to Diamond, what I love about that song in particular is it kind of goes back to like that 90s R&B song like you hear from like girl groups such as like Destiny's Child or maybe even TLC, because with Mamamoo, like as you said, they're like really different from what you hear from other like girl groups like Blackpink or Twice. They don't fall into like either like the cutesy or like the punk girl esque that a lot of like companies would like to throw out in K-pop with them like
I was gonna say, especially as of late, like they've really been pushing this like whole like bad girl K-pop kind of look. But yeah, Mamamoo is definitely steps out of both of those schools.
Yeah, the thing is that they execute it in a different way. Like they have more of a mature approach to it. Like it feels like more genuine into like how they look and like to their like abilities as either rappers and vocalists. So that's what I really love about like Diamond. Like goes back into that retro 90s R&B type of feel.
Yeah, which is kind of how Mamamoo started in a way. So yeah, it kind of was like a nice callback to how they've established their sound. So yeah, no, those are good choices. I mean, that whole mini album was really fantastic. So fun little piece of fresh air here at the end of 2020. Going into my number 8, I think Ginny's going to appreciate this one because I was struggling to figure out which NCT song was my favorite of this year, because like because you have all the different subgroups and stuff, and I finally had to settle on the one song that NCT finally got their first win on, which was Make-A-Wish birthday song.
Yay! Yay! Okay, all right.
Because I had to go to, like, okay, I mean, NCT had a great year. I mean, between NCT 127 with Kick It, I like Kick It, but over the Punch. Punch was very, very distortion heavy with like the very robotic beginning to it.
Yeah, it's more like a heavy like what you hear on like modern video games these days.
Yeah, we were making a lot of Tron references when Punch came out. I remember that we were making so many Tron references because it's very much that like 80s, like, you know, technological sound. And then, you know, and I have to give it to Wavy, because Wavy with Turn Back Time, when they had their first album come out earlier this year too. I mean, their whole entire first album in Chinese is fantastic. Like, sets in stone, like why I think Wavy is a really, really good subunit.
Yeah, a bit of a spoiler. Like, that's one of like my top albums of this year was like Wavy's "Awaken the World," and I enjoyed a lot of like their songs from there. And just to show how Wavy's like my favorite subgroup out of NCT right now. So yeah.
Well, I look forward to talking about that later. But let's talk about Make-A-Wish, because yeah, I mean, NCT comes through at the end of this year, bringing everyone together, bringing in the new members, and they drop, you know, Make-A-Wish birthday song, which I was not expecting, like, it to be so sexy, I guess. Like,
it's like those, like, it has like those sexy birthday songs, like, you know how like with 50 Cent, like, oh, it's your birthday, gonna party like it's your birthday. That's gonna be included into like the category of like those sexy birthday songs, you know?
Sorry, flashing back to BTS singing that back in 2013 when they first debuted. Oh God. Anyway, that's a whole. You know what I'm talking about. That's a whole video.
Okay.
We'll flash back to that. No, yeah, I mean, it's Slinky, and like just the lineup they have in this with the Taeyong's voice and, you know, Lucas's, like, you know, growly rap, and you know, and showcasing Shotaro in this one, and like his vocals, I'm like, and then just the choreography to this one, it's really it is like NCT's like version of sexy. Like, they bring this different version of sexy, I think. Like, it's more aggressive, I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like more like, you know, how like those people around their like early 20s would approach and like trying to like like impress a girl, that kind of like mindset. So it's kind of like how you can put like NCT's like discography and Make-A-Wish into like a mind of like a 20-year-old guy trying to impress a girl.
Yeah, like it's a total club song. Let's put it this way: Make-A-Wish is a club song, hands down. Yeah. Like, this would be something you'd hear at the club, and I'm totally okay with it. But yeah, it's the one song from Resonance I was going back to over and over and over again. That's why I had to pick it, and that's why it's my number 8.
For me, I'm just gonna say this: Make-A-Wish is my top 6 selection of my top 10. So if I could like add more, you pretty much said what I was thinking about, like Make-A-Wish. Yeah, it's one of the biggest bops of this year, and one of the songs that I keep on like going back and like listening all over again. And it's pretty well deserved since it won like awards in the music shows, and makes a good impression of like their new member Shotaro, and like you can see how he has so much potential like with his skills as like either a rapper and a dancer as well. So he's such a wonderful addition to like the whole 23 members, and him and Sungchan. Like, Sungchan really excelled in like his rapping, and if I could like talk about like, or like just mention a bit, like the Light Bulb may not be like the song that I go back to, but I really appreciate like the composition of it, and like the writing they added, and also like Sungchan's like retro style of rapping. Sungchan, so it's really impressive. Like, and then Resonance has been like one of my top albums right now too.
Yeah, Resonance was super good. Like, I still need to go out. Actually, I think I might go out and get it. With all my Christmas money here, I'm not gonna lie. All my bonus Christmas money is probably going to K-pop albums this year, because there's a lot of albums I'm trying to catch up on. So
I'm still trying to go down. I'm still not into your level of like kind of wanting to buy like physical copies of K-pop albums. Nope, not there yet. Not in that level yet.
No, it gets worse when you try to buy multiple copies because you want all the photo cards. That's when it gets worse.
Yeah, and I heard things about like trying to like how to get into like fan signs, how they have to get all like the copies. I'm like, oh, geez. Like my sister told me about it, and it's just like, that's unbelievable. Like to see how fans would like go so far just to meet with like the idols is. Man,
for like 90 seconds. Yeah, and this is also for like the 90 seconds. So, in my mind, not really worth it. I just like looking at it because I like the photos and stuff that come with it too. But if I get my biased photo card, all the better. But what's your number 8? I guess, are you going by albums and then like the songs on the albums? Is that how you just decided your list this year?
Well, since you said you're not gonna be going over that much of like the B-sides, I actually included some like B-sides for people who can like appreciate more and like see like their other like works instead of like their main hits. So for my number 8 would have come from Stray Kids' Go Live or Go Live album.
Go Live,
yeah, Go Live. So this is like a weird pick that I chose, but this song like really grew on me as like when I listened to it more. It's called The Tortoise and Hare. Have you heard of it, Jenny?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That's the intro track to Go Live. Or is it? Yeah. No, it's The Tortoise and the Hare is actually on In Life, I believe.
Oh, In Life. All right then.
Yeah,
so
which is the repackage from Go Live. I'm actually, hold on. I'm gonna go research this quick. Hold on one second.
Yeah, it was from Go Live or In Life.
Yeah, In Life is The Tortoise and the Hare.
Yeah.
Because I know what you're talking about. Because it's go ahead and explain.
Yeah, so I think it is from In Life, like the repackaged version of from Go Live. But the reason why I picked The Tortoise and Hare is other than like with BTS or like maybe with ATEEZ and like their rap style, Stray Kids really like do well because like how Stray Kids like their persona is more like the angsty, hard-edged type, like they're like that's how like they're perceived in like a lot of K-pop. They're not like as like boppy and like bright as like GOT7. Like they really delve more into like the struggles of like how teenagers would go through in life and how like a lot of like people, like especially with the higher ups, would try to put so much pressure and expectations on these young adults. So like they really like do well in like spreading that kind of message into like their songs, and like that's one like reason why I admire them so much. So with The Tortoise and Hare, it's just I think their song is like it's pretty much like how a lot of like how society would want you to speed up with In Life, and like with the teenagers, like they always like tell everyone just please like slow things down, like help us, like just keep us like away from like this hectic the routine. So how like kids would want to like just be like so like overwhelmed with like a lot of expectations like put by them like by society, and like they're like the response is like slow down, just chill out for a moment. So that's one of the things I like about like the message with The Tortoise and Hare. And when I first heard that song, I was so weirded out because how jarring the composition was, because it started like going into like this fast paced like frantic rap style, and then like going into like a more of a slow, lazy sounding like hear from like trap songs in America. So but I was able to appreciate it more because it kind of reflects on like that story of like the tortoise and the hare and how it mixes up like with the fast pace and then like the slow down parts of the song. And it really starts, like I became, it really grew on me, so I just, and I really like the, how it like sets me up into like this really mood, this like this big mood that I want to go through when I go to work. Yeah, it's one of like those pumped up songs that I would relate to, No,
it's a great introduction. I mean, what's cool about it is if you actually listen to it, they kind of spliced it and made it shorter, which is the introduction for Go Live. So you kind of heard some of it before when they had Go Live come out earlier this year. And then you get In Life come out with the repackaging, and it's basically the whole song. And like you could see they actually like put stuff in different positions, so like it made a whole different song completely. And it's kind of fascinating to see that, because I mean the production line in Stray Kids, Three Racha, being Bangtan, Changmin, and Han, like their production skills are insane, and their rapping skills are insane too.
And they're one of the groups that that JYP allows them to like produce on their own instead of like having like a bunch of creative input by like the higher ups. So I really love how like they let them like have like a lot of creative liberties into their work, and what makes them like Stray Kids and like puts an identity to themselves.
Yeah, I mean their production is insane, and I actually will touch more on Stray Kids later because I don't want to spoil, but but we'll get to that when we get to that. Should we go into our number 7? So
yeah, for sure.
All right, so my number 7, again, I think Ginny will appreciate this because this man is a demon. And also Jesus, apparently, too.
Like, which demon are we talking about here? Which demon? There's so many demons in K-pop.
Good point. But I'm actually talking about Taemin's Idea is my number 7 song in here. It was really hard for me to choose between Criminal and Idea. Both songs are fantastic, like with the composition and how just the different ways like they're brought together. His Criminal is very, very, again, and I've been finding a lot of my stuff this year has been Race Sinister. I've been on the Race Sinister vibe apparently. But it's because it plays with that darkness and stuff, and even Idea plays with that darkness, but it kind of hides it in this brightness a little bit with the booming of the EDM to it. Even though there's a big dark undertinge to the song, like about like this, I'm trying to guess, how do I explain Idea? Because this is, the Killing Me Softly and everything too, and just Taemin's just Taemin's vocals itself, like, are you there's no words to explain Taemin's, just the power he has in his vocals. There's a reason why he's such a great soloist, as well as such a great part of SHINee too, which I'm hoping 2021 gives us some more SHINee before Taemin goes to the military. Now that the other 3 members of SHINee are now out of the military. So yeah, I mean, just the whole motif, because he's been playing a lot with his whole like Messiah Jesus motif, I feel like a little bit too, like he's kind of being persecuted, I feel like. So it's kind of interesting seeing that dichotomy between Criminal and Idea, but just the composition of Idea, I think, just got to me more. It was like more, I was thinking more towards re-listening to Idea than I was to Criminal, although both songs are fantastic. So
yeah, I agree too.
Yeah, that's my number 7, Idea by Taemin.
Cool. Well, as you said, how we're going to be moving on from my top 7, moving on from like the depths of hell of Taemin to more of like the more angelic realm. But I think it's more of like a crack angel to me. So who I'm referring to is Baekhyun with his album Delight. Yeah. And for my pick, I chose Ghost from his album. How like SM has like really hones in and like having like such powerful like vocalists in there and like really versatile performers like Taemin. And with Baekhyun, like you've seen from his popular music video this year, which is Candy. Like you can see how much like he can hold a tune, and how like he's like his vocals are just like out of this world. How he can like belt on like those really high notes, and you can see that too when he's with Super M this year. For this the song specifically with Ghost, I just really love how like just the music was composed in general. Like I really love like this chilly atmosphere like this song exudes, and I love I'm such a huge sucker for like those old school like the retro type of vibe. So with Ghost, it has like that heavy synth bass line with like a bit of the guitar riff here in the background that blends into more of like this funky retro and with a bit of like a modern R&B to it. And with Baekhyun, he excels in like having that R&B like soulful type of music into his discography. So that's like one of my favorite songs that I've heard from In Delight. So yeah, and also I can relate like to the lyrics of the song because it talks about like how like he's missing this one person and this person never there, and it's just like, yeah, I relate to it so much.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Bacon's solo style is obviously very different from EXO's style as a group. He definitely more delves in the R&B camp of his sound, and yeah, I mean, his vocals seriously are like some really powerful, beautiful vocals of the third generation.
Yes. Voice of an angel, as I keep on saying it on in social media.
Yeah, which I mean, yeah, interesting. You know, considering some of the other vocals we've seen from other people. But yeah. Bacon's a great choice for number 6. And
yeah, I mean, if I could add to like Bacon's like one of the reasons of why I'm such a I always like I always fall for like the people who can sing. So guys out there, yeah, like I'm such a huge like I always get like turned with like a lot of the guys who can sing. So like Baekhyun was like a reason why, or like is one of those people to me.
I mean, yeah, I understand why. I totally understand why. I mean,
yeah. I always fall for like any guys who can like sing like that, or who can just sing in general, man.
We fall for the singers. Apparently, I tend to fall for the rappers, though. I've come to realize I think I have a rap line bias. Anyway, but all right. I guess let's get into our number 6 songs of the year. So,
well, I won't be discussing it because I already said Make a Wish, so you can like say your own top 6.
So we started talking about Jane's top 6, so just Make a Wish, which again, A Resonance, great album. I'm actually going to go back because we talked about Stray Kids, and I'm actually going to come up, and Stray Kids is my number 6 song of the year with God's Menu, which is from Go. So, which I will say is the song that actually got me to become a stay. Although I'm not going to lie, my Spotify has been flirting with me becoming a stay for the longest time. Way back even with like Miro and stuff. So like late 2019, between Miro and Side Effects and Levanter and stuff like that. But it's the reason God's Menu is the one that's like got me as a full-on stay. And I mean, it should not work. This song should not work with how chaotic it is. The fact, like, all the allegories to cooking in it.
Yeah, it's just loud and bombastic, with Stray Kids.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they are what people call, like, quote unquote, noise in terms of music. In terms of, like, it's very loud in your ear, very EDM heavy. It's not really what you think, like, calming, soothing music. Like, and I'll say this, I love noise. Like, you look at most of my music on K-pop, and I love most groups that are classified as noise, I guess, quote unquote. But yeah, I mean, there's no way a song that's, called God's Menu, with all these allegories to cooking, the choreography is related to cooking. But yet it cooked its hands into me, and it dragged me into the Stay fandom. And yeah, it's so much fun just to get all the different vocals between the slow, again, with the slow and the fast. They've been playing a lot with that lately, I feel like, within Stray Kids with their production. As we saw with the torch and the hair, and we see it here in God's Menu, and all the different just the vocals and stuff too. Like, you get from like, the high pitches of like Sungmin and IN, and then you get to like Felix's super deep, like
very white, like baritone voice deep,
like deeper than the Marianas Trench deep baritone voice. That's one of the deepest voices in all of K-pop. Like, you think V has a really deep voice in BTS? Like, you go back to like Singularity, back on Love Yourself tier, because that's very low. Felix is lower. Like, his pitch is low, and it's crazy that he's only 19 and he can
he's like a 19-year-old like skinny little boy with like the like a bass voice of a god, like, hey, what's up?
Although he can also sing really high too. It's insane. But yeah. God's Menu it's such a good song. So
yeah, if I could add to with God's Menu, it's like a good change up from like how they usually make their songs. Like, you know how with Stray Kids, like they're always like usually the angsty type of like teenage songs that are just so full of anger and just like so many things that you like struggled with the most. And with God's Menu, it's just like it's really like more upbeat, but still has like that really like that loud and really booming noise that Stray Kids usually would do. But yeah, I like that huge like shift in the tone, I guess, in the in the subject matter too.
Yeah, I mean it's basically kind of like, you know, we're awesome, look at us, we're really awesome. So, but it's done in the really cool like cooking allegories and stuff. So that's my number 6 is God's Menu. Since we talked about your number 6, which was again Make a Wish, I guess I'll just get right into my number 5.
Yeah.
And my number 5 is, I don't know how I'm just going to bring it up. Again, this whole like, retro sound throughout all of K-pop, even through all the pop music. Really, again, like you saw with The Weeknd. I feel like he's kind of been the start of this, and then like everyone's just kind of hopped on this whole retro sound. But the best iteration I think I've seen of the retro sound this year in K-pop is La Di Da by Everglow.
Oh, nice.
Just that whole like features, like that whole like synth sound throughout it is very prevalent. Their vocals together are just superb in terms of like a girl group. Like I feel like they're kind of like under credited, I think, in terms of like girl groups of the 4th generation, like because everyone likes Itzy and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like they're still, I know they're 4th group, but they're still like growing. And I think people are slowly becoming to recognize Everglow. I think they're doing it. They've done it well. And when it comes to like, from each song, like like Bonbon Chocolate, Adios, and then Dunda. I think that Dunda was like the song that got me into Everglow, or at least like make me like notice or heard like from the song for the first time. So I think Dunda like was like the stepping stone, and then La Di Da like just pushed them into like popularity. So yeah,
it's just like the whole the synth sound throughout it, and the choreography they had with this is really precise and really awesome. The voguing that they have, and it's a great package, and it's I think the best utilization I've seen of this like retro sound seeing throughout K-pop now, because we saw happen with Twice, we saw it happen with BTS, with TXT. Like we've seen lots of groups hopping on this like retro sound. But yeah, I think it's the best utilization of it this year is La Di Da by Everglow.
That's good. Yeah, and I love the music video too. It's like I know like a lot of like K-pop videos are so beautiful, but like this one is just so stunning how they use like references from Sin City at the beginning, and like those neon those bright neon aesthetics too at in the middle of it just makes it like look so gorgeous to look at.
Yeah, they tie in a lot of like interesting like neon noir kind of aesthetic to it, and it works really well with the song. So yeah, that's my number 5. What's your number 5?
Amazing. So my number 5 pick is we're getting into the Thai time selections. So we'll be going back to Wavy from one of their songs from Awaken the World. And I just also want to like shout out to Resonance Part 1 with Domino and then Nectar.
Oh God, Nectar. But yeah, oh my God, yeah, Awaken the World. I know some people were gonna maybe hit us on this because they're singing in Chinese. They're technically K-pop. Unit of NCT, so they're technically K-pop, although they're catering to the Chinese market.
To like the Chinese market. So that's why I'm kind of cheating on like some of my choices. So just letting you know, there's some Mandarin theme or like some Mandarin choices that I have here. So with Wavy, like I said, favorite subgroup of NCT. What I like about them, how they differ so much from either like 127 or Dream, it's just like how like their music, like their style of music, even though like still retains like some feel of like how NCT is and how like they would sound like. I feel like their music makes you like be able to groove, makes you able to dance, and as well as appreciate like the entire harmonization of like their vocals, and as well as like the backup instrumentals and like the entire mood of it. So again, like with Turn Back Time, it just makes you feel like you want to like go somewhere, right? Or just like do something. And like it's like way different from like with other NCT units when they rely more on like the chanting power anthems, like you see like with 127's Kick It, you know. So yeah, with Domino, I just really like the harmonization of like all like the members there, as well as like it has a bit of like that like 80s retro feeling to like the music. Like it's something like you can hear like something like The Weeknd would probably do. And yeah, the thing, and also with Nectar, it has like this really central flavor into like the music. Is just, and it makes it a bit like different from what you hear from like other NCT groups. Like they have like a more of like they really ace on having like this more sensual feel to like their music and their songs, like you see with like Love Talk in particular. It's just they're really good at that. And also they're like Mandarin, how they sing in Mandarin or rap has like makes it like it makes the vocalizations and like have the singing more like a flowy feel to it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way: I'm not fluent any way in Mandarin. I mean, I'm not fluent in Korean. I'm getting better in Korean, but yeah, you know, Mandarin goes right over my head. But the way they sing and they rap is very fluid, and it just really adds to the instrumentals of the song. Like anytime you sing.
Yeah, they fit. Yeah, they fit. Their voices fit with like the music to it.
Yeah, I mean, Awaken the World itself is an amazing album, and that got slept on, I felt like, this year by a lot of people, because that kind of it came out, and I was like, wow, I think I'm really into Wavy, which we kind of retroactively got the NCT camp. So, although I had kind of been flirting with NCT a little bit at that point, but yeah, Wavy is. Oof, they're super good. There's a reason why I think they're both of ours. They are some favorite subunits of NCT, and because they definitely have a different flavor that they offer to the NCT monk ear, I think. So
yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we're on to my number 4. So we're getting to the top songs here for us in terms of K-pop of 2020, but I'm going to flash back to a different time, back before the pandemic. This came out, well, I guess I kind of feel kind of interesting because I do also have some personal stories, because I was in New York City when they were possibly in New York filming things. May have been less than 2 blocks away from that, but just can't believe, because I don't know how they missed us on our radar, because I was also meeting up with plenty of fellow armies at that time too. But I'm actually talking about BTS and their single from Map of the Soul 7, On.
Nice.
So when Map of the Soul 7 came out in February, which right before the pandemic, right before the world lockdown, because most of the promotions for On occurred post-pandemic. So it was kind of sad to see, especially with the song itself, with On being this bombastic marching band-esque, like, you know, powerful song, you know, full of that BTS swagger. I mean, they had, you know, they freaking had the instrumentals come from the UCLA marching band. Like, they literally had the UCLA marching band come into the studio in California and record some of the backing and stuff for On. So that's why it has this like big triumphant sound to it. And yeah, it's a BTS song through and through. Like, it has that swagger, it has that style that is just so synonymous with them. And yeah, it's just it's hard to explain, because like I really loved having both the dance version that first came out, and then they had the actual, like, you know, like more cinematic music video too, which all the references to Blade Runner, or not to Blade Runner, but to the Maze Runner people were making, which were hilarious. But yeah, it's honestly such a great triumphant song, and I'm really happy I got to see it. They did it for Mama this year with that whole entire dance break and everything with the marching band, because it just works so well. It's a great,
yeah.
It would be great for like a halftime performance at football, which I highly doubt ever.
Yeah, that's how I feel like
get a
too.
K-pop group to do it at halftime at Super Bowl, because I can just imagine the racist comments coming from most football fans. Not for me, because I'm that weird intersection between sports and K-pop. But anyway, yeah, it's such a booming song, and just it. I love it. I really love it. Like, it was like that, just like, especially after they released Black Swan, which is like this really introspective song about like, the faults of the faults of stardom,
An
and, like,
individual.
the individual, and like, getting to that point where you don't love what you thought you love, tying that into the whole, like, a dancer dies twice, once when they stop dancing. The first time when they stopped dancing, and the second time, obviously, the actual death. And so, going from that, like, really introspective song to this really in your face song, talking about, we're going to take on the world, and we're going to do our thing. I think just sent a really good message to Army. It's just that whole continuing of like, being yourself, embracing your individuality and stuff, which is kind of what they've been preaching like the whole time they've been together. So
yeah, it's like a very good like motivational song for like the armies, just to like, feels like it's like you're getting like closer to the finish line. Yeah, the music itself is so victorious. Just it gives you like a lot of like energy and like a lot of will to like succeed in your life. And then that's what like how BTS really succeeds in how like sending that kind of message to their fans. It's just what makes BTS like so like well loved around the world, because of like their songs and like the message that they spread out.
Yeah, I mean, because it doesn't come off as preachy. It never comes off as preachy, which I think some people are afraid of. It never does come off like that. Like, it's very sincere. So that's my number 4 is On by BTS.
All right. So my number 4, I think I just just like noticed just now. Yeah, my top 4 are now gonna go into the soloists.
Oh,
surprisingly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So heading from like starting with my top 4 is we're gonna start things out with Changha in Stay the Night.
Okay. I was flirting with her, putting her on my list. I was really flirting with her, putting Stay Tonight on my list, actually. She's right around the 12 for me.
Yes, for sure. So like when I first heard that song, I didn't really think that much into it until I listened to it again, and it just makes me feel like that, like the type of thing that you want to like dance in the clubs, but this song in particular is just, or this song right now, it just made me look at like what Changha's like other works in discography from the past, and it instantly like made me become like one of her like like a casual, like just a casual fan, but like slowly growing into like a big fan of Changha, and my favorite, like one of my slowly creeping into like one of my favorite K-pop performers when it comes to like soloists. And just the thing I love about this song, and just as well as like the music video that they presented, it's just like it exudes so much of like this is such a pride anthem song, and hopefully she did this intentionally, because she a lot of things that she embraces a lot of like LGBTQ plus elements into like the video, as well as like the music too, like with the Vogue club dancing, most especially the inclusion of like these male dancers with this heavy makeup, feminine outfit, like with those tights and the high heels. It's just, I see a lot of like people like reacting into it, and how like how happy like some like representation being put with the LGBTQ. And and this even though this was like a pre-single, which I'm still waiting for like the main album, or like the single to come out. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but she's become like such a well-known soloist with her like such powerful vocals, and even her complex dance choreography, which is like it goes away from like that innocent, cutesy, simplistic style of like K-pop girl groups tend to do, and it has like more of like this really nice Vogue hand movements that she's really good at. And even though like this whole like Vogue type of like genre with K-pop technically started like last with 2019 with Tiffany and from Girls' Generation with Run for Your Life. This song by Chungha, State and Night, like pushed more of like that retro 80s synth, the Vogue music. So like later on you hear with Irene and Solgi's Naughty, and then with Everglow with La Di Da, and then like with Twice, this whole Eyes Wide Open album. So I don't know if it was inspired by her, but yeah, it pushed more of like those types of music into like a lot of like girl groups and even like boy groups as well.
Who knows?
So yeah, I would a lot of Chungha with Stay the Night.
Yeah, that seriously is a great song. And yeah, because Korea is a very conservative country, yet like there's most people who have come out as gay in Korea have been pretty much like black marked from entertainment. Like there's only a couple who haven't. The biggest one I think is Dane Holland. He came out openly as a gay man before he even debuted, and he's signed to an independent label, but he's got some of the greatest. He's got some really, really good stuff as a soloist too. But again, he's black marked because he's gay. But I think it's getting better. I mean, I think some more people are coming out as more like, gender neutral and stuff, because I know Joe Kwan came out as gender neutral. Yeah. Earlier, so. Yeah, I mean, it's getting better. And there's been other groups that have supported LGBTQ, like BTS has been very big in that. I think Stray Kids is also, as well as ATEEZ, have been very, very open.
And Monster X too. Yeah, Monster X, I heard too. They've been supportive.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of their earlier stuff, like they were flirting with some like LGBTQ stuff in their music videos early on in their history. So yeah, there have been groups that are supportive. So I'm hoping that like opens the door more, gender inclusion, I guess, in Korea, and letting, different orientations exist, because everybody's fluid. So, but yeah, I guess so. We're now getting into our top threes. Our top three. So I'm going to start my top three with a song that came out not that long ago, but really caught me off guard, but I was really excited for it. And it's just been one of my go-to kind of callback songs of the year. I'm talking about Home Run by 17. I've been
nice. Very interesting.
I feel like I've been a Carrot for a little bit now, because I've kind of was flirting with them last year when an ode came out. And then obviously earlier this year with Hengare, which was really good. I mean, Left to Right's a really, really good song, but it didn't kind of catch me like Fear did off of an ode last year. And then Home Run came, and just completely with this whole like the jazz aesthetic and just the production behind it. Just Woozy's production in the song is super impressive. Just all the different layering with all the different jazz and the horns. With all 13 of their vocals like colored in there super well. Giving everyone's opportunity to shine, I think, throughout the song, which is, again, it's hard when you have 13 people that you're trying to balance out throughout the song, but they do such a great job, balancing between the main vocals and like the rappers and,
especially when it comes to like 13 members in that group too.
They do a great job. And then obviously 17 is such a production heavy, there's such a performance heavy group too. Like their performances are stunning, and like Home Run is hands down, I think, one of my favorite performances of the year, with all the callbacks they've made to like musicals and to the Roaring 20s, with like the costuming and the set and the design and stuff. And it's such a fun song off of Semicolon. It's been like one of my favorite songs this fall when it came out. So yeah, I have to give it up to 17 with Home Run. It's such a great song. That's my number three.
I'm also glad they're being recognized too, like right now too with the Home Run. I think it kind of like pushed them off to like into becoming like a well-known K-pop band, and I'm glad to hear that like from 17, and I'm glad that it's part of your top 10 list too.
Mm-hmm. Your number three?
Okay, for number three, this one is also pretty new. Yeah, and by new, like I think that was weeks old new now. Even like despite even like being like coming out of like just in this short amount of time, you have no idea how much like some of these songs like really hit me. It really hit me into my heart. And so the one I'm referencing to is EXO's Demon Kai doing his first solo album with the songs that I have here, 2 songs, is Nothing on Me and Ride or Die.
Oh, and those are both great songs off of that album.
Yeah. Like, you know how people are like, we're like waiting so much on how like getting a solo from Kai, and like there was some, you know, like some concerns because he's just like a dancer, and then like those vocalists like Baekhyun or Chen, but he really aced, or he did well for his first time in a solo, because he does well like in balancing like a performance within his dance, as well as like his voice that I think really fits into like how like the music comes out in general from like his solo album, which, you know, were 6 tracks, but yeah, it has like there's his songs like provide some of the most atmospheric tracks in K-pop this year. Like I said, you know how much I love those songs that like makes me want to transcend into like different universes, which is kind of funny because that is Kai's persona. Like his power is to just teleport elsewhere. It just makes like the whole thing so like otherworldly. Like how like whenever I listen to Nothing on Me and Ride or Die, because I listen to them like back to back. Because I listened to like the Kai, I wanted to mention this. I listened to Kai's album in the order of like how he arranged his songs in like the film version. So it was like first with Hello Stranger, and then like going on to like Nothing on Me and Ride or Die as his last tracks. So it kind of leaves off to like this melancholic feeling into it. Like I'm longing to venture outside of like where I'm like staying in right now, and it's just like that damn pandemic is just like that's holding me back. But yeah, like that and I'm also gonna like mention this too with some of my top 2 pick, but like that I love like those melancholic like instrumentals that you can hear, and like it really helps like his voice blends well with like that 80s synth pop style, and like that Nothing on Me, Ride or Die kind of, you know, like has like a bit of a reminiscent to like other classic 80s band like Tears for Fears, because this is something that they would probably like produce nowadays with that kind of like music into it. And just I just really admire so much from this album. And yeah, and I think that goes to show how promising Kai can be doing like a solo act.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone was worried with Kai coming out, because again, he's not one of the power vocals in EXO. I mean, you definitely put that again on Chen or Baekhyun, and his whole thing is he's a dancer. But yeah, his lower register like is a little bit more like a little more sultry, and it just fits really well with like the production behind everything on that album, on Kai's first mini album. And yeah, I mean, it's been only a couple weeks since it's been out, and wow, it's I think Kai was flirting to kind of be on my list too with because that song itself is super sexy and just sultry, and just the production behind it is insane. So yeah, no, that's a good choice. That's a really good choice. But my number 2, we're gonna go from one demon to another demon.
Oh boy.
I think you know which demon I'm talking about here.
It's gonna be fun.
Your favorite. I'm gonna go and actually with the crazy thing about this song is that this album came out the first week of January with this single, and it's been like one of my go-to songs all year long, and that would be Answer by ATEEZ.
Oh my God.
Yes, I'm going to torture you with choice on. No, the whole thing with Answer is like, it's this great, the whole mini album itself is this great bookend to this whole era of ATEEZ that we had from their debut to at that point in January with this whole Treasure era, and there's in their discography, which we've seen a ton of growth in the music that they've done, and it's a story through itself, because the crazy thing about ATEEZ's music is that they reference their lyrics all the time within different songs. Like in Answer, they reference stuff all the way back from the beginning. You know, with I'm trying to think because I'm like blanking on the lyrics now because it's just like everything's hitting my brain at once.
Sound and Hongjun like just like blank out your brain right now, or Mingi?
All of them do. Are you kidding me? All of them blank out my brain. But it's just sonically answers really beautifully done. Just from the beginning, like the beat drop, and then San coming in with his vocal with the gombayata like a thunder, raising the glass to the air, and then you come in with Jungho's really strong lead vocals, and just everything about the song, from the raps to the vocal line, like at least like I'm happy because Yosan got at least a line because Yosan rarely gets lines. He's gotten more lines thankfully with because he had a whole line and a dance in Inception, so hey, progress. Yosan's it feels like relegated to visual, but like he's got a really interesting register to his voice too, because he's a bit of a deeper voice too because when you hear him sing live, it's definitely deeper. And that's the one thing too about ATs is like you can tell when they're singing live. Like any performance you see with them, you can tell that they're singing live, like between Hongjun and Yoonho and San and Jongho. Like you can definitely tell it's all live from them. And yeah, it's just the whole like how this is just a great bookend to this whole chapter of like in this whole story that they built. Because the great thing about like all of ATEEZ's albums is like it's just this continuing story, and it's about this journey that they're on to find quote unquote their treasure, which can be anything you want it to be, which is kind of what the symbology of it is. And then it comes in like the music video itself is like beautifully shot and like has a lot of references to their alternate universe. Also leaves us that's the joke I always make, left us with more questions than answers, because there's a lot of questions still unanswered in terms of their universe in that music video. So because obviously we saw with Zero Fever Part 1 actually turned into a prequel, so everything that has been existing currently in terms of their AU has been before what we had with the Treasure era. So and as an AU junkie, like it gets me all like excited, like for theories and whatnot. But yeah, this is something like I've been rewatching so many different performances of them performing Answer, and like it just hits me every time in the heart, just from the first beat to the last. And it really is one of my favorite songs of theirs. Is one of my favorite songs of 2020, hands down.
That's nice, yeah, and I love how you like just rave about like ATs against my will, but yeah, I love how they're like creeping up into like your bias level along with the BTS. So yeah, and they're in the really like another like a new, fairly new like group too that just like shows a lot of promise, and like hopefully they get more like recognition along the way. Yeah. And I think it's becoming more known now since they're getting a lot of awards too, like in this year with Mama and like some other awards too.
Like I said last week during the Mama, like they've really, this year 2020 has been such a good year for them. They've gotten way more recognition in Korea itself. Like they've been known in the Western world, like they have tons of international fans. But they were kind of shut down in Korea. Just based on like some of the things they've done this year, they've really, I think, elevated their status within the country. I hope it'll be actually interesting this weekend because they're competing on Immortal Songs in the King of Canes competition, because since they won earlier this year, they are coming back and doing another performance, and it's actually airing this Saturday, which I'm actually excited to see, although it'll be with only the 7 of them since Nicki's still on hiatus. But
okay, so on hiatus.
Yeah, so it'll be very interesting to see. I'm really interested to see what happens in 2021 with ATEEZ, especially with them being in Kingdom, and just the future of their sound, because like they're another group that is very much like their production team, which is led by Eden, who's a really, really great songwriter and singer too. His whole team is amazing, and he works really, really well with Hongjun and all the members of ATEEZ. I know I've heard some of the members are actually starting to look into like music production. I heard Yosan starting to look into production. So it'll be very interesting to see if they're going to be experimenting more with their sound. So I look forward to it.
Okay, so so with my number 2, we're talking about a lot of like demonic people in K-pop, because we're going back to talking about the other demon back in SM Entertainment. It's also like Kai's best friend in the industry, Taemin, from his Never Gonna Dance Again Act 1, with 2 songs, Strangers and Nemo, I guess is that how you pronounce it? Not Nemo the fish, but Nemo.
Interesting. Okay. I thought it was Nemo, but okay, we'll go with Nemo.
Yeah, I think Nemo is talking like the Korean term for no. I don't know. I don't know if he meant that, but like another song that makes me want to travel outside from my place, and like with when I go into Strangers, it paints like a vivid scenario. Like it has like this personal feeling, or I kind of have like a personal experience when I listen to Strangers, because I always like to imagine like a bunch of scenarios in my head whenever I listen to some songs and with K-pop. So like this one, I just picture like me walking in a crowd in a black and white city like filter. It has like this Kai's Nothing on Me. It paints this really melancholic lonely feeling of like it's like you're missing, like you just have like this empty feeling inside your heart. It's just like there's like a missing piece that it needs to be found, and I think it does well with with Strangers. It's like this one person that's just missing in your life, and or like just who's just gone in your life. And I think that's like it makes it a great addition to like the entire theme of Never Gonna Dance Again, because with the first album with Act 1, it has like more of like a bit of like a lonely like a longing feeling of like this one person. It has like this, it's almost like a breakup type of album, and it has like more of like a dark undertones with like the sinister with Criminal, and then when you get to like Two Kids, has like this really sentimental feeling into it. And it's like a good like transitioning point when you get to Act 2, which has more like an optimistic, hopeful flavor into it. So, but I really like The Strangers, how it puts me into like this doesn't put me in in a depressing mood, but has like this feeling that you like you're just reaching out to something,
Mm-hmm.
And moving on to Nemo, what I love about this song specifically is it brings like this classic sexy R&B vibe from the 90s. This is the a go-to baby making music, if I were to say that.
Mm-hmm.
With Nemo. Yeah, how with people these days, especially when it comes to like North American artists, how like they do a lot of like, they always rely on like using explicit like descriptions when they when they do their songs, right? But what I love about like artists such as Taemin is that you can do like a really sexy theme into your song. You're just creating like this mood just by like the music alone, and like the poetry you can write into like the lyrics. You don't have to be like in your face of like what you want, but you can have like this really like a bunch of like beautiful like words you can put into like in your writing. And that's what I love about like with Taemin and Nemo. So that's those 2 songs are in my top 2. They're in my second place of my top 10 K-pop songs right now.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that's like one of my favorite go-to things about K-pop is just like it's not, a lot of it's not really explicit. Like you kind of have to do some digging into the lyrics and like the poetry of it all. Those were some of our favorite groups like BTS and Stray Kids. Like they deal with a lot of like wordplay and poetry in their songs. And and even ATEEZ too plays with that kind of poetry. And it's really fun to like decipher and kind of find the meanings, I think.
Yeah.
So, but
get your like audience to like think more, and then like just like have your audience think and be more like involved and be engaged into like your work of art.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about like music in general.
It's a novel idea, and so I think why I really like K-pop as much as I do. So we're here. We've made it to our top
We made it
of 2020. And I was struggling with this because I'm like, do I really put a song in here from the same group? Did I put the same group on this list twice? And I'm like, I have to because damn it, it was Stray Kids year this year, and honest to God, I put my number one song as "Backdoor" by Stray Kids.
Oh, wow! I'm pleasantly surprised by that pick, Jenny.
Really? No. Yeah, no, Backdoor, like, I was going back and forth because, like, God's Menu, Backdoor, God's Menu, like, they're both really great songs. Like, from this whole, like, Go Live and In Life era that Stray Kids is, currently having, I guess, even now into the, like, All In. They've been producing some really great music. Like, some of their B-sides from these albums have been great, too. But I keep going back to Backdoor and just how sonically pleasing it is to the ear, like on the production side, how it flows a little bit better than God's Menu. I feel like God's Menu is a little bit more jarring, but it goes, I think, with kind of like a little more, abrupt kind of sound they're trying to go with, because again, it's all the cooking allegories and stuff. And Backdoor is just, again, in that vein of On, where it's in your face, like we're here in your face, like, the whole thing, like, come to the back door, like, this is exclusive club, for stays, and like,
for only for like the authority, like the authoritarian figures too.
Yeah, so no authorization. It's like, no, come through the back door, we'll get you in. And just it also has like some like the retro. It has some of the retro vibes within like some of the mixing of the sound, but it still sounds really fresh and modern. In a way, like just the in your face kind of, again, Stray Kids-esque gravitas that they have. And yeah, it's really, really great. Just the balance of all the rappers between Changbin and Han and Bangtan, and then the vocalizations, especially with, I think Lino has some really, really great vocalizations, because sometimes I feel like he kind of gets like left out, even though he's the second oldest member of the group, but like his vocalizations are super strong throughout it. And everyone's parts in it just flow together so beautifully and so sonically. And yeah, it's been my go-to, especially when they announced the repackaging coming of Go Live, which was In Life. Even the repackaging itself, like most of the time when albums get repackaged, and this happens a lot in K-pop, they'll talk about a couple songs and say, hey, new album. They gave us 8 new songs when they repackaged Go Live. So it was like almost like a double album in a way, because you had most everything come off of Go Live go on this album, as well as 8 new songs, including Backdoor, and The Tortoise and the Hare, which we talked about earlier too. And yeah, it's like I said, this is, I think, what's meant to me is becoming a stay, and this is why my multi-stan heart is gonna like break come June next year between Stray Kids and ATEEZ. Although I'm really looking forward to seeing interactions between the two groups. I know they're actually all they're pretty good friends, especially I know Wooyoung and Changbin are really, really close friends. So I'm really looking forward to seeing those kinds of interactions. And yeah, I mean, there's something about the whole knocking choreography too is just kind of aesthetically pleasing. I don't know what it is, but it's just a fun song. Like Backdoor is, and if you need a fun song in 2020, I give it to Backdoor.
Nice, yeah, I would think so too. Okay, well, when it comes to my number one pick, you know how I keep on saying I kind of cheated a bit, not just with like the tie times with my 2 songs in one place, but I'm also included some Mandarin based pop, but I still consider them K-pop because if we're like where they came from and like where they started out.
I know where you're going with this, I think.
Okay, because this song, this song was like my song of the summer. This was like my ultimate soundtrack. This song and like the entire album. So what I'm talking about is Lay Jan from EXO, called Lit. And so you know how like Lay is like the only Chinese member of EXO right now, and he may not be like working with EXO at the moment because of like political reasons. But I just really hope like things get resolved so he can just come back and just like work with them, or like go out like just like work with his friends. But this song, I was kind of like flirting a bit with Lay, with his like discography. So like, you know, Honey, like okay, tempting, but yeah, and, you know, like he has a lot of like things that I don't know about. But yeah, when the first time I've seen the music video for that song Lit, it's almost like a short movie, and like the last 2 minutes are just like credits. But yeah, like the first time I saw that late at night, and I think I was like trying to go to work, and I was like, I need to go to sleep early. Yeah, you have no idea how many times I repeated like watching that music video and how much hype and energy I got from this song. Yeah, because like the reason it's just like what I love about like with Lay, like he's really he really shows his pride in his Chinese heritage. Like what he did in this album, the entire album of Lit, is he blends in like has like a beautiful blend of like traditional Chinese music and also honoring like today's hip hop and trap, which Lay's grown so much from, like just the reason why like got him into like being an idol in the first place. So I just really like, I'm just really amazed at how like is able to incorporate like these two vastly different elements and make it into like this really beautiful piece of music. And so with Lit, I just it just brings so much power in, like when you listen to the song, especially when you see the music video. It's so godlike in the way, like to me, it's like it just moves like mountains. I feel like I can move mountains. It got me to like dance again, because you don't know, like I did a bit of like dance back in my day. But yeah, like I really like started learning how to like do some crumping, just like really like looked into his how he danced. It may be complex, but it's just really like hard hitting, and how he makes it. But yeah, I could like talk more about his other songs like Jade, Changsha, and Fly. But or also like what's that other song that I love from Lay? It's like H2O. But yeah, like you guys, you should really like, I recommend like listening to this album if you haven't yet. It's really amazing. It's like one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard this year. And yeah, that's my first place for top 10 K-pop, or I guess Asian songs of 2020.
I mean, again, because
not like Mama, who doesn't recognize too much of Chinese music except for Wavy.
Apparently, but I mean, I would say this too. Like, I actually started listening a little bit more into Chinese pop music too, because it's been coming up on my Spotify, and Japanese and some J-pop too. So it's kind of fun to see, like, as kind of the K-pop has kind of been expanding out and stuff, obviously in different spheres of influence. So yeah, to obviously bring in the Chinese and the Japanese stuff into it is really, really nice. And so, yeah, I mean, Lit is an amazing song. Like the visuals of that and the music video itself is gorgeous. I'm also kind of floored because that came out at the same time Dishita came out with August D, which is Suga's alias when he does his own solo mixtapes, and that's very, very Korean because they use the
Korean based,
uses the Korean the Korean music they used to announce the king is coming. And that's
the Dejita.
That's the Dejita, and he kind of used that as the backing to his to that song. I will say this Dejita is like flirting outside my top 10. I'm not gonna lie. It was really, really hard for me to Dejita on my top 10, but I was like, there's some stuff that's a little bit better. But I guess we want to get into honorable mentions. If you have any honorable mentions, you want to mention, or do you?
Well, I was about to put like some ITZY stuff in there, as well as Wonho with his first solo album. Yeah, there's so many like songs that I could like list off, but not right now. Maybe I can like share it maybe in like in a page somewhere in Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, I mean
How about you, Jenny?
I will mention a couple. But I think we might have to collab on getting a Spotify playlist of our favorite songs of the year all together, because I have to throw a couple more. I have to throw some ATs, but I have to throw Inception on there because Inception is such a really beautiful song. Different even in ATEEZ's discography, because they were going more of a song, like more of a, it's not really somber, but the somber for ATEEZ. In this whole dreamlike, because again, Inception, dreams, but such a great, beautiful song. Again, I also mentioned Dishita being that coming out of nowhere, legacy, and that whole promotion that Suga did for D2 was awesome. Like, it had been years since he had released anything solo wise, because he's been obviously focusing on BTS stuff. And then I don't know if the fact that RM had Mono come out is kind of pushed him to like get a second album out, but it was well worth the wait. For
sure, absolutely.
I also have to give a shout out to for Hyphen. Like, I was really flirting with putting in Hyphen on my top 10 because holy shit, they had, I think, one of the best debuts I've heard from a group in a long time. Like, Given Taken is seriously one of my go-to songs currently, and I'm super excited to see where they go in the future. I know they're dropping actually music video for Lebian 20 Cube on Monday.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you saw the teaser.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that too.
So I'm looking forward to seeing more from Hyphen and to seeing where they are going. Because even in the end of 2020 here, they've really made an impact already into the K-pop scene. And then I also have to give a shout out to our girl Jessie with Nana. I was really on the list too, because that was such a fun song this summer. Bringing her LA swagger. I mean, she's been in the industry for a long time. Jessie's been working it for almost 15 years, I think, in the industry, and like now she's getting the recognition I think she deserves.
She deserves, yeah.
Like, I've seen her. Like, I mean, we saw her win an award at Mama. I think she's actually up for a couple entertainer awards at the entertainment stuff this weekend. Because she's been doing a lot of variety shows and stuff. Because she's just a great character on camera. I don't know if you ever watched any of her stuff on YouTube, her show reviews that she does. Like, she goes and she interviews like different like Korean celebrities and stuff, and it's hilarious because she's so loud and like crazy, and like her Korean is still like not like perfect.
Yeah, like she's like one of the most like outspoken like figures in K-pop. Like, you know how like people don't like talk about like not being proud of like a plastic surgery, but with her, you know, like with her looks. But yeah, with her, like she looks so different, like from other like she's like Hwasa. Like, she's so proud of how she looks and like how she acts and like how she is in general as like a person. And that's what I really admire about her. And I'm glad that Cedric is really into Jessie as well.
Yeah, I've been slowly introducing him into Jessie. He really digs her. So I hope she gets more music coming out too. She's just a great entertainer overall. And then the other song I want to top on is, because I didn't talk about Pentagon this year, was Daisy by Pentagon. I thought was such a beautiful, really beautiful breakup song. That is just, it really hits you in the gut. I mean, it's going to be the last thing as them as a 9. I think they did it as 9 at this point, because they've had members come and go for other reasons. But now some of the members are starting to go into the military, so it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen with Pentagon. But Daisy is such a really beautiful song, and that's been popping up on and off on my list as of late. So I had included as honorable mention. So. But we did it.
Yeah, for sure.
We did it.
We did it.
We survived 2020 K-pop for the most part.
And excited to hear for some more stuff next year. Hopefully there's some better stuff to come.
Yeah, I mean, well, we haven't had anything major get announced yet for 2021, but something tells us right after the holiday. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, they literally announced for ATEEZ, they literally announced their album the Treasure Epilogue Final All to Action on Christmas Day.
Right.
I was like, oh, Merry Christmas, there's a new 80s album coming out. So, and they literally came out on January 6th. It was insane. It was like 2 weeks. Like, oh my God, we're getting a new album. Because they had just had their first full-length album in like October. So it was like October, and then all of a sudden December, we got announced a new mini album in January. I was like, holy cow, cool. So yeah, we'll hopefully see what's going to happen, but we are going to take some time off for the holiday season, kind of rest up a little bit. Hopefully
we shall return next year.
We shall return. Hopefully nobody else gets COVID, although there have been more signs of idols getting COVID over in Korea, which is not good.
Yeah.
So hopefully things get better over there too. But yeah, we'll be back next year with some more K-pop goodness. I think we've been talking about some ideas we want to do with the show. Like deep diving into specific groups just to kind of like give you more of like a detailed history of their music and their growth and stuff. But if you want to, keep hanging out with us while we're off, you can find us on our social medias. You can find me, Jenny, on Facebook, facebook.com/Jenny Madisek. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Chaos Bulldog. Jenny?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook at Jenny Liano, Instagram at Jenny Designs for my official design work, or you can look at my personal and Twitter accounts, which is at RCL__MegoJin. Back to you, Jenny.
And you can also hang out with us. We're going to be putting a lot of content up on our Twitter and our Instagram while we're off for the holiday sign. Jenny's already warned me she's already making memes. So I'm expecting a lot of by her hands come this holiday season. It's okay. I'm planning to like bombard her with choice on gifts and images. So
yeah, same here as well.
So yeah, I hope, seriously, we hope everybody has a really safe and a healthy Christmas and New Year's or whatever holiday you celebrate this holiday season.
Yeah.
We'll be back in 2021. And with
back more powerful than ever.
Yeah.
Stronger and powerful than ever.
And more dangerous than ever, maybe, possibly. We'll see.
Yeah.
Fighting.